Hey there guys, my name is Mittens, and you know what time it is, it's been a while, but welcome back to part 5 of the Vanilla WoW Warrior Let's Play on the Emerald Dream private server, part of Phoenix. You know what it's about. This episode, it doesn't really show that much progression. Basically, where we are now is we've just hit 20. Well, where I am actually, this isn't going to be what's seen in the video, but where I am is that I've just hit 20. I've not had that much time to play. I've just worked 6 days in a row. This is my first day off. I've hit 20, and we're getting ready to move into Ashenvale, which is going to be nice. Another iconic old world WoW zone that a lot of people love or hate. Much like the Barrens, you love it or you hate it, but either way your experience is a memorable one that you'll always remember. But in any case, where we are in the series is that we're moving forward into Ashenvale. So this is kind of the last footage of the Barrens, and that's kind of polarising people. Some people probably be happy to move away from the Barrens who've been there for a while. Other people probably like the Barrens a lot and want us to stay there, but this brings me on to one thing that I've been thinking about for a few days now, which is why I prefer Emerald Dream to Warsong at the moment. And that is because with a 12 times server, I think you're missing out on the majority of what makes vanilla vanilla. Because really, despite the fact that endgame is what you really play in MMO4, or at least what I play in MMO4, the leveling experience is what kind of colours your experience of that MMO. It's what kind of brings you into the MMO, it invites you in, it shows you what the themes that they're playing with are, what the style is and stuff like that. And really, when I played on Warsong server, because I played on that server for several months, I got a character up to 60 and started gearing him. I even ventured into AQ20 one time until some idiot hunter, not me, pulled Moem for the crack and decided to fucking wipe the entire raid. Bit of a dick move, don't do that kids, you're gonna have a bad time. Anyway, when I was playing on Warsong server, I kind of felt that I wasn't really experiencing vanilla that much. I was really aware of the fact that it was a private server because of the fact that there was this enhanced leveling experience. It just didn't feel as Blizz-like as it should have done. But with a 1 times rate, I'm seeing all of these old quests that I remember, love them or hate them. I remember these old quests. I'm seeing all this landscape as it was. One of the things that, whilst I really loved what Cataclysm did for a lot of the quests, it really revamped a lot of areas, kind of gave it a new lease of life. It was a good idea in my opinion. I always knew that I would have this nostalgic feel. I would always miss some of these old areas that I leveled in when I was younger, particularly the themes of places like Stranglethorn Vale, for example, where I remember having loads of fun times and not so fun times, dying to crocodiles, dying to fucking Horde because I played as an alliance at the time, all of this shit. And also just little things like going to Orgrimmar a lot of the time to learn my abilities and stuff. Just seeing some of those level 60s and just giving me that inspiration to keep on with the series, as well as the amount of just feedback and positive criticism that I've gotten from you guys. It's really been great. It's really kept me on with this. But with Emerald Dream, another thing is that despite the fact that it's such an important part of your experience, and that's why I think 1 times rates are a better idea, also it really is a lot more useful for newer people coming back to a private server vanilla standard, because things like getting your abilities cost so much money. It's not like modern day WoW where you just get them when you level up. Some of these abilities cost a lot for an early level player. Some of the abilities from 50 to 20, for example, that I've just bought are like 50 silver, which obviously for an end game player isn't a lot, but if you're just at those levels at the early stages, you probably only have a couple of gold, like I did. At the moment I managed to keep up with it, but later on it does get really difficult, and if you're leveling at a 12 times rate, I remember when I got my hunter up to max level, I had to grind herbalism for quite a long while before I could get all of my abilities, and then I had to do it to get all of this stuff that I needed off Auction House, because I'd suddenly got to level 60, and because it's a 12 times rate server, you didn't have people doing the lower level dungeons or anything. You had people doing Blackrock Depths and Scholarman's and Stratholme and all of this stuff, because they're the end game dungeons, but there was just nobody doing Ragefire Chasm or anything up to these things like Diamol. Anything before Diamol, nobody was doing. But then I went on Emerald Dream, and as soon as I got to level fucking 12, really, it was early on, I was just in Orgrimmar learning abilities, and there were just about 5 or 6 people trying to get groups for Ragefire Chasm, save for Wailing Caverns, all these things, and I just really liked that. I felt like I was back in a server that not just was active, but actually had quite a large population. And as you'll see, as you could just see clearly in the video at the moment, I'm doing this with other people. and there were so many people around in the Barrens. I know that the Barrens is kind of like a massive zone, and it's such a massive leveling range, and of course more people play at an early level. It's kind of more the mid-range that you don't get that many people, and then when you get to max level, that's where there's a lot of people as well. Well, I was really, impressed by how many people were about. And by the way, apologies if my voice sounds a bit weird. I've got a cold. I'll just slot that in there. But I'm really enjoying this right now. I've just over the last couple of days, I've really just had an urge to be back in Vanilla WoW. Can't wait to get up to 60. Can't wait to get back into the swing of things. Maybe join a raiding guild. Hopefully, I'm finishing my current job in a couple of weeks, and I've got about 4 or 5 weeks before I go back to university. So I'll get the chance to, if we're at 60 or if we're nearly at 60, start looking for a guild and stuff like that. Really looking forward to doing that. But at the moment, I've just really enjoyed this level of experience. It's bringing back memories that I've. Obviously, it's been. Oh God, it's been 4 years now, maybe more. I think, yeah, 4 years since things changed. And when you think about it, that is a long time. And now going back, I'm starting to see just little things and certain quests that I remember doing, and just the level of difficulty as well. Like, I mean, even in questing, just look at this. I'm doing this here with 2 people. Normally, when I quest, well, actually, for the last 4 years, I have done nothing with more than a few people. I've done no quests with more than a couple of people, and usually, oh, sorry about that. Usually, that's because I was in a guild that I really enjoyed for several years, and my guildies were really good people, and we'd help each other out. But it was extremely rare that I would just do quests with other people, because I knew that the difficulty wasn't there, and I also knew that a lot of people didn't really were kind of scroungers. Like if you got people wanting to invite to groups, they would just like hang back. In vanilla, from what I've seen here, not only are a lot of people relatively skilled, I mean, this is low levels, I mean, just basic things like not pulling too many mobs, trying to maximise their abilities, their efficiency using potions and bandages and stuff like that. But I think that the reason why there's that skill base is because I would say the vast majority of people who are playing on the vanilla server are probably people who are going back to something they've already experienced, or are like myself, veterans of the later stages in WoW and want to move back and enjoy the stuff they didn't experience before. So you've got people who have a lot of previous experience. You do get the occasional people, like one person in Orgrimmar today when I was online asking where they can buy ammo, which is a pointless question, seeing as it takes about 2 seconds to find out where to get ammo, and you're probably gonna have a bad time if you spam that in trade chat. But anyway, I just really enjoy the challenge, because this is Northwatch, as you see here, and all of this footage is just in Northwatch. This was just a quest, but I really enjoyed it, because I felt like I was doing some challenging content, and after all, it doesn't really... Dark Souls, I'll just talk about Dark Souls for a moment. You might be thinking, why? But Dark Souls is a game that has proven to the community that it's not always about brand new up-to-date graphics, it's not always about a really awesome up-to-date integral combat system, it's not always about innovating new features. Sometimes the biggest thing that can hook people's interest is addictive, challenging content. And to be honest with you, I was addicted to this little bit of Northwatch that we were doing here. It felt almost like a modern day WoW scenario, except relatively difficult. I remember when I played retail WoW, the scenarios I did with people in my guild who were doing normal mode raiding or even flex mode, doing scenarios was literally just a time trial. It had nothing to do with difficulty or completing it. And to be honest with you, that's why I've stopped playing WoW again. It's just that it got to the point where I just wasn't having any enjoyment in it. It just felt like I was just doing a grind with little challenge at all. I think that's why most people who've left have left. Whilst I'm doing this, just a little bit of news about what I'm on with. You'll see the Morrowind Let's Play that's going on. I'm kind of enjoying that quite a lot. I've got another video to upload after this one. I've been playing Wildstar a bit, but to be honest with you, whilst I find the game quite interesting, I am starting to see the similarities to World of Warcraft, and I think that to be fair on the game, it's quite easy to see the similarities to World of Warcraft if you are, like myself, a person who played that game for nearly 8 years. It's quite easy to see the similarities between games when you put that much time into them. And it's quite detrimental, because you end up comparing these things in that way. Even if it's a good game, you end up comparing it to WoW just because that's the benchmark, that's what you've played for so long. Well, Wildstar I've kind of enjoyed, but when I want that hankering for an old school combat systems, old school raiding systems, old school leveling. I just think, well, why not just go to vanilla WoW? Because really, if that's what you're looking for, then you just remember why vanilla WoW got 5 million subscribers in a year, you know? You remember why this catapulted WoW into the forefront of the MMO market. It's because for what it does, vanilla Warcraft does it better than anybody else. The funniest thing, and I will go on record saying this, is that I think that vanilla WoW, and definitely the Burning Crusade, but especially vanilla WoW, with its combat system, with the 40-man raids, with the difficulty, with the class quests, with the need for grouping, you know, with the old school RPG style elements and the feel of the Warcraft universe, I'm starting to really believe that this is better than any other form of Warcraft, World of Warcraft that's been out. Having experienced all of the other forms in their entirety, I really started to feel like it's just better than anything else that I've experienced, especially modern day WoW. I mean, what will Warlords of Draenor be like? I'm not sure, but to be honest with you, despite having made a video talk about the expectations of raiding, I don't think I'll play Warlords of Draenor. Why? A couple of reasons. First of all, this server, this private server, has got a long way to go before it reaches its end game with Naxxramas. We're only at Blackwing Lair at the moment. That means there's AQ20, AQ40. I don't know if they've released Zul'Gurub yet, but they might have not. They might not have done, and if they have, I really want to try that as well. But there's not only is Blackwing Lair just still in its like majority now. I mean, I don't even know when AQ20 is being released. I know that everyone's gearing up for AQ20 and all the guilds are recruiting for that, but I haven't seen anything saying, oh, we're releasing the Anchorage event now. I definitely want to be at level 60 so I can be there for that event, and I will film that, I promise you, if I can be there. But I also want to experience these raids as coming out. Anchorage is my favourite. AQ40 is my favourite raid in WoW ever. Not a lot of people will say that, but I just love it. It reminds me of the Tyranids from Warhammer 40k. It reminds me of Starship Troopers. Has a real sort of HR Geiger feel to it. Has a real sort of alien feel, you know, the Cthulhu sort of thing to it. Obviously Cthulhu, duh. And Naxxramas is another one I really want to try out, because the interesting thing is that I've only done that Nax 25 man once. I've never done it any of the times. I've only done it once before. That was years ago, and I've never done Nax 40 man, obviously because it wasn't out when I started playing it and been taken away. That's why I really want to try Nax, because everybody says that it was the best raid ever produced, the hardest raid, and I really want that challenge. But yeah, I don't think I'll be playing Warlords of Draenor because I really want to play on this server. I really want to get into it and experience vanilla raiding. I really want to play Corecraft when that comes out, which should be at the end of this year, maybe next year, not sure. But also, really, EverQuest Next is kind of the light at the end of the tunnel for me. I've really been disappointed with the way MMOs have been recently. I mean, kind of proof of that is the fact that I'm having to play on a private server of a game that came out over 10 years ago. And I still find that better than anything that's currently out, in my personal opinion, and for what I want. EverQuest Next, if it does what it says it will do, if it does that right, it may be a game changer, but we don't know. I mean, there have been rumours of things like it not being very well developed because they've scrapped it twice before, and therefore them SOE releasing, for example, EverQuest Next Landmark in order to generate more revenue in order to develop the actual game. But who knows? And yeah, just to round this up, guys, I just want to show you this strangeness that I saw here when I logged in the other day. Two guys just sitting down having a drink, you know, two art brothers. What can you say? You know, maybe they've got the lore after them, they're laying low. Did a Grand Theft Auto in the O2 D5 Clio 6 Twin Turbo. You know what it's about. But you know, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're getting something out of my ramblings. But like and subscribe if you did. And I'll see you in the next episode of what I make. Bye bye.